Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different. Forget wading through countless travel blogs.
Yeah, there's so much out there, isn't there?
Exactly. So we're basically handing you a plan, a curated 4-day itinerary for your first trip to Sardinia.
A fantastic choice. Sardinia is just stunning.
We figured you want the good stuff, the highlights, something practical to get you excited, but without all the noise.
So we've tried to distill it down into something really usable. A solid plan.
Right. So Sardinia, it's that big island in the Med, part of Italy, but kind of its own thing too.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
It's Italy's second largest island, massive coastline over 1,800 kilometers, incredible beaches, mountains, and a history that goes way, way back.
You see those photos of the turquoise water?
That's the real deal. But there's more to it than just beaches. It has a very distinct culture, a unique soul.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we're focusing on those first 4 days, making the absolute most of them.
Where to go, what to see, what to do.
And definitely what to eat. We'll cover the must-sees, the experiences, the flavors.
The mission, basically, is to give you a plan that's so tempting, so clear, you'll feel ready to actually book that trip. Spark that wanderlust.
All right, let's jump in. Day 1, we're starting in Cagliari, right?
Yeah, Cagliari, Sardinia's capital, down in the south. It's a really logical starting point, especially for exploring that southern coast.
And you mentioned it's maybe a bit more budget-friendly for places to stay?
Generally, yes.
Right.
Compared to some of the northern resorts, you can often find more reasonably priced accommodation there, which is always a plus when you're just starting out.
Okay, so you've arrived. Let's say you get there early afternoon. What's first?
Well, depending on your timing, you could head straight for Puerto Beach. It's the main city beach, really long, sandy stretch, easy to get to.
Nice way to ease in. But
Yeah.
the main event in Cagliari is probably the Old Town.
Absolutely. The Castello district. You have to explore it. It's the medieval core, up on a hill, all walled in.
Sounds amazing. What's it like?
Think narrow, winding, cobbled streets, old defensive walls, towers. And because it's on a hill, you get these incredible viewpoints looking out over the city and the sea. Really atmospheric.
Okay, so wandering Castello is key. Any specific landmarks in there we should look out for?
Definitely. The Bastione di San Remi is probably the most famous viewpoint. Great panoramic spot.
Got it. Bastione di San Remi.
Then there are the old Pisan towers, Torre di San Pancrazio, and Torre dell'Elefante. Really impressive medieval structures.
Wow.
And the Cattedrale di Santa Maria, the main cathedral. Plus, if you're interested in the island's ancient history.
Which Sardinia has a lot of, I gather.
Oh, tons. The Museo Archeologico Nazionale, the National Archaeological Museum, is right there in Castello. It's fantastic. So many artifacts, especially from the Nuragic civilization.
Nuragic. We'll probably touch on that again later.
For sure. And if you have even more time or interest in Roman history, there's the Amphitheatro Romano nearby.
A Roman amphitheater. Cool.
And the Santa Restituta Crypt, which is this fascinating underground church complex.
Okay, lots to see just in Cagliari itself. Now, you mentioned exploring the south coast. Is there time for a little trip out of the city on day 1?
Yeah, if you have a car and maybe arrived earlier, you could definitely do an afternoon trip. About a 40-minute drive south takes you to the Nora archaeological site.
Nora. What's special about Nora?
It's quite incredible. It's an ancient port city, originally Phoenician, then Carthaginian, then Roman. You can literally walk through layers of history.
Wow, so you can see ruins from different eras.
Exactly. You can see Roman streets, amazing mosaic floors that are still quite well preserved, the remains of thermal baths, temples, marketplaces.
What are the highlights there?
The Roman theater is pretty impressive, and the location is stunning. Some of the ruins, like the term mare baths, are right by the water.
Sounds beautiful.
There's even an app, I think it's called Nora app, that can guide you around the site, which is handy.
Good tip. And any beaches near Nora, if you want to swim after exploring.
Oh yeah, the Bay of Chia isn't far from Nora, famous for its beautiful beaches and dunes, so you can easily combine the history with some beach time.
Perfect combo. Okay, so after a day of exploring Cagliari, or maybe Nora, what about the evening?
Head back to Cagliari and explore the Marina District. It's down by the port, very lively in the evenings, lots of restaurants and bars.
And food. First night in Sardinia, gotta be seafood, right?
Absolutely. Being right on the coast, Cagliari is perfect for fresh seafood. Find a nice trattoria in the Marina District, maybe try some grilled fish or fregola with clams. A typical Sardinian pasta.
Sounds delicious. Okay, that's a packed day 1. What's next? Day 2.
Day 2, we're heading out from Cagliari again, this time east, to see some of that famous coastal beauty. About an hour's drive.
East towards?
The area around Villasimius. specifically Capo Carbonara Marine Protected Area. It's just south of Villasimius town.
Okay, Capo Carbonara, what will we find there?
Stunning coastline. The real highlight is Spiaggia di Porto Giunco.
I think I've seen pictures of that one. Is it the one with the really white sand and crazy blue water?
That's the one. It's picture perfect. White sand, turquoise sea, and there's an old watchtower, Torre di Porto Giunco, overlooking it all. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
And right behind the beach is a lagoon, Stagno Notary. Keep an eye out there. You might see flamingo.
Flamingos in Sardinia.
Yep. They often hang out in these coastal lagoons. It's pretty good to see.
Okay, so Porto Giunco for that classic Sardinian beach scene. After soaking that in...
After that, we change direction. We head west, across the island a bit, allow maybe an hour, perhaps a little more, for the drive to Bosa.
Bosa. I've heard that name. What's Bosa like? Completely different from the coast.
Totally different vibe. Bosa is this incredibly charming town on a river, the Timo River, which is actually Sardinia's only navigable river.
Okay.
And it's famous for its colorful houses. They climb up the hillside towards this big castle at the top, Castle Malaspina.
So lots of color.
Loads of color. Bright pinks, blues, yellows. It's really picturesque. Great for just wandering through the cobbled lanes, exploring. Maybe grab a gelato while you walk.
Sounds lovely. A nice contrast after the beaches. Can you stay for the evening there?
You definitely could. Bosa has some nice restaurants. Again, good seafood because it's not far from the coast. Or maybe try some local pasta dishes. It's a really relaxing place for an evening.
Okay, so day 2 is coastal beauty in the morning, charming, colorful town in the afternoon, evening.
Exactly. And Bosa also sets us up nicely for the next day because from there, we'll continue heading north along the west coast towards Alghero.
Got it. Transitioning north. So day 3, Alghero. How far is that from Bosa?
It's a pretty straightforward drive at an hour north from Bosa. A scenic coastal route again.
And Alghero, what's its claim to fame? It's another coastal town, right?
It is, but it has a very unique history and feel. It's a beautiful, fortified seaside town, but its big distinction is its Catalan past.
Catalan, as in Spain.
Exactly. It was conquered by the Crown of Aragon centuries ago, and that influence is still really strong. In the historic center, the Old Town, some people, especially older residents, still speak a dialect of Catalan.
That's fascinating. So it feels different from other Sardinian towns.
It really does. It gives it this unique flavor. You see it in some of the architecture, maybe some street names, and even the food.
Okay, so when you're there, exploring the historical center is the main thing.
Absolutely. Get lost in those narrow streets within the old walls. Check out the cathedral, Cattedrale di Santa Maria, and its cool octagonal bell tower.
Nice.
Also, look for the Church of St. Michael with its colorful tiled dome, and St. Barbara, which is actually the oldest church there.
And you mentioned the Catalan influence. Anything specific tied to that?
Well, besides the language you might hear, Alghero is famous for its red coral.
Coral jewelry.
Yes, exactly. There are lots of little shops selling beautiful handcrafted coral jewelry. It's a traditional craft here. There's even a coral museum if you want to learn more about it.
Interesting. What about just enjoying the seaside location?
Oh, for sure. Take a walk along the Lungomare, the seaside promenade. It leads you towards Lido San Giovanni, which is the main city beach. Perfect for a swim.
And sunsets. Seems like a good spot for one.
Definitely. The best place is up on the old sea walls, the ramparts, they call them the bastioni. Walk along them as the sun goes down. The views over the water are just fantastic.
Sounds perfect. Now, like with Cagliari, are there interesting sites just outside Alghero if we have extra time in the afternoon?
Yes. There are some really significant archaeological sites nearby. One is Nuraghe Polmavera.
Ah, Nuraghe again, those Bronze Age towers.
Exactly. Polmavera is a really well-preserved complex, not just a single tower. It dates back to maybe 1500 BC. You can see the main tower, central courtyard, and the foundations of numerous huts around it. Gives you a real sense of a Nuragic village.
How far is that from Alghero?
Pretty close, maybe a 20-minute drive. Easy afternoon trip.
Okay. And what else?
Another incredible site, even older, is the Necropoli di Angelu Rugiu.
Necropolis, so a burial site.
Yes, a huge prehistoric one, over 5,000 years old. It has about 38 rock-cut tombs called Domus de Janus.
What does that mean?
Domus de Janus literally means fairy houses in Sardinian. They're these fascinating chambered tombs carved right into the rock. Sometimes you can even spot faint traces of ancient carvings inside.
Wow, 5,000 years old. That's amazing. How far is that one?
Also very close, actually only about 10 minutes from Alghero's airport, so it's very accessible.
Great options for history buffs. Anything else nearby? Maybe something different?
Well, if you're interested in wine, the Sella e Mosca winery is one of Sardinia's largest and most famous wineries, and it's right in that area.
Wine tasting. What kind of wines do they have in Sardinia?
They have some really unique grape varieties. For reds, look for Cannonau, which is similar to Grenache Carignano, Monica, Cagnolari. For whites, Vermentino is probably the most famous, but also Nuregas, Torbato, Vernaccia, Malvasia di Bossa.
So a visit to Sully and Mosca could be a nice change of pace.
Definitely. Taste some local wines, see the vineyards. It's a beautiful estate.
And for dinner in Alghero, sticking with the Catalan theme.
You could. Given the history, trying a local seafood paella might be fun. It's a nod to that Catalan connection, using fantastic fresh Sardinian seafood. The old town is lovely for dinner, very atmospheric.
Okay, Alghero sounds packed with character. That brings us to day 4, the final day. Where are we heading?
Day 4 involves heading north again, further up the coast, making our way towards the Palau area, which is in the northeast.
How long is that drive?
From Alghero to Palau, it's roughly maybe 1.5 to 2 hours driving time, but you'll likely want to stop along the way.
Scenery worth stopping for.
Oh, yeah. The coastal scenery is lovely. One town you'll pass is Castelsardo. It's perched dramatically on a rocky outcrop overlooking the sea. Worth at least a photo stop. It's very picturesque.
Castelsardo. Got it. Any other quick stops?
There's a famous rock formation called Roccia de Elefante, the Elephant Rock.
Because it looks like an elephant.
Exactly. It's a large chunk of dark volcanic rock that's been weathered into an uncanny elephant shape. Right by the road, easy quick stop for a fun picture.
Okay, cool. So the destination is Palau. What's Palau known for?
Palau is a major town in the Gallura region, a popular resort spot. But its main significance is being the primary gateway to the La Maddalena archipelago.
Ah, the islands. I've heard those are incredible.
They absolutely are. The La Maddalena Archipelago National Park is a group of islands famous for, well, some of the most stunning water and beaches you'll ever see. Crystal clear, turquoise, amazing granite rock formations.
How do you visit them?
Boat trips are really the only way. Numerous tours depart from Palau Harbor, taking you around the main islands like La Maddalena itself, Caprera, Spargi, Budeli.
Budeli. Is that the one with the pink beach?
That's the one.
Okay.
Spiaggia Rosa. Access is restricted now to protect it, but you usually sail past it. The tours often stop at other incredible beaches on Spargi or Santa Maria for swimming in that amazing water.
So if time allows on day 4, a boat trip is highly recommended.
Highly recommended, yes.
Yeah.
It's a real highlight of northern Sardinia. But you definitely need to book these boat trips in advance, especially in peak season. They're very popular.
Right. What if a boat trip doesn't fit the schedule? Maybe a late flight or something. Any alternatives near Palau?
Sure, if you don't have time for the full archipelago tour, you could drive a bit further west from Palau, maybe 30-35 minutes, to Capo Testa.
Capo Testa. What's there?
It's near Santa Teresa di Gallura. Used to be a Roman granite quarry, and now it's this incredible landscape of giant, wind-sculpted granite boulders. Almost looks like sculptures.
Sounds cool for exploring.
Yeah, great for short hikes, exploring the rock formations, taking photos. It's very dramatic scenery. And nearby, there's also La Fortezza di Monte Altura, an old fortress with great views if you're interested in a bit of military history.
Okay, good alternative. And then presumably day 4 ends with departure. Where do you usually fly out from if you're in this area?
The most convenient airport for the Palau La Maddalena area is Olbia Costa Smeralda Airport. There's also a major ferry port in Olbia and nearby Golfo Aranci if you're traveling by sea.
Okay. And last meal. Any food recommendations specific to this northern Gallura region?
Well, the Gallura region is particularly known for its Vermentino wine.
Yeah.
It's a crisp white wine that pairs perfectly with the local seafood.
More seafood. Can't go wrong there.
Definitely not. And make sure throughout your trip, but maybe especially notice it here, you try pain carousel.
Pain carousel? What's that?
It's the traditional Sardinian flatbread. It's incredibly thin and crispy, like paper really, served almost everywhere, often drizzled with oil. It's unique and delicious.
Gotta try that. Okay, so that wraps up the 4-day itinerary itself. It sounds amazing, covers a lot of ground, but also a lot of variety.
Yeah, the idea is to give you a real taste of Sardinia's diversity, the beaches, the history, the towns, the landscapes.
Before we finish, maybe we can just touch on a few extra points, sort of key takeaways about Sardinia for a first-timer. You mentioned its unique identity.
Absolutely. It's important to remember Sardinia really does feel distinct from mainland Italy. It has its own language, Sardo, although Italian is spoken everywhere, of course. But the culture, the traditions, they're shaped by centuries of different influences and a certain degree of isolation.
And practically speaking, something good for drivers.
Yes. No toll roads in Sardinia. That's a nice bonus. Makes driving around exploring a bit more affordable and less hassle compared to the mainland.
That is good to know. And the history, you mentioned the Nuraghi, but there's more, right?
Oh, it's incredibly rich. There are something like over 7,000 prehistoric archaeological sites documented across the island. Nuraghi, Domos de Janas, giants' tombs. It's an archaeologist's dream, really.
And those beaches, the coastline is huge.
Massive and so varied. You've got the Costa Smeralda glamour, rugged cliffs, hidden coves, long sandy stretches. Truly something for everyone.
We also hear about people living a long time in Sardinia.
Yes, it's one of the world's blue zones. It has an unusually high number of centenarians, people living past 100, especially in some of the mountainous interior villages like Villa Grande Strisali. Diet, lifestyle, genetics. It's a fascinating area of research.
Any other fun facts or quirks?
Well, for movie buffs, that James Bond scene with the Lotus Esprit car driving out of the water in The Sky Who Loved Me, filmed at Spiaggia Capriccioli in Sardinia.
No way. Cool.
The Nuraghi themselves, dating back to 1500 BCE, are unique to Sardinia, found nowhere else. The carnival celebrations in places like Momoiata are really ancient, quite intense, very different from Venice or Viareggio.
Sounds intriguing.
There's a history of banditry in the interior, the Codis Barbarcino, this sort of unwritten code of the mountains. You might see wild boars if you venture inland, and they make porcedu, the roasted suckling pig, which is a major Sardinian specialty.
Okay, maybe avoid the boars, but try the porcedu.
Haha, exactly. And we already mentioned Alghero's Catalan dialect, which is just so unique.
So, best time to go. You mentioned summer is hot and crowded.
Yeah, July and August are peak season, very busy, very hot. Spring, sort of March, April, May, and autumn, September, October, even into November are often considered ideal. Milder weather, fewer crowds, everything is still open.
And getting around, car seems key.
Renting a car is definitely highly recommended to make the most of it and reach all these places. You can get around by bus, but it limits you.
How do you get to the island itself?
3 main international airports: Cagliari, CAG in the south, Olbia, OLB in the northeast, and Alghero, AHO, in the northwest. Plus, lots of ferry connections from mainland Italy, Genoa, Livorno, Civitavecchia, Naples, Palermo, France, Spain, Corsica. Ferries arrive at ports like Olbia, Porto Torres, Cagliari, Golfo Aranci, Arbatax.
Lots of options. And one last food item we missed. A dessert, maybe.
Yes. You absolutely must try ciabattas, sometimes called ciabattas. They are these large, round pastries, kind of like a radiolo, filled with fresh pecorino cheese, deep-fried, and then drizzled generously with local honey, usually bitter strawberry tree honey.
Cheese and honey fried.
Yeah,
Sounds amazing.
They are incredible. A perfect Sardinian treat.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this 4-day plan, it's really designed as a taster, isn't it?
Exactly. A first glimpse. It gives you a mix of Sardinia's incredible coastline, its deep history, its unique culture, and of course, its delicious food and wine. Enough to make you fall in love with the island and want to come back for more.
It blends that relaxation, the beach time, with real exploration and these unique cultural touches you won't find elsewhere.
We really hope this deep dive gets you excited, gives you that confidence to just go for it. Embrace that spirit of discovery. Travel is all about those aha moments, right?
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Well, just consider how Sardinia's really ancient past, influenced by so many different peoples over millennia, combined with its strong, unique island identity. How that creates a travel experience that's genuinely different, even within Italy. It makes you wonder, what other secrets, what other hidden gems does this amazing island still hold?
Definitely makes you want to find out. Thanks for taking us through that Sardinian journey.
My pleasure. It's an easy place to get enthusiastic about.